You finish a positive sales call. The prospect seems eager. Then, silence. Days pass, and you send a generic check-in message, which is immediately ignored. Most deals do not die on the call. They die in this exact moment. Because the second you send a needy message asking if they have any thoughts, the power dynamic changes. Look at this diagram of the power dynamic. By asking for an update, you forfeit your identity as the selective expert. You take on the role of an anxious pursuer, and the prospect suddenly feels like they are being chased toward a decision. This creates the paradox of the follow-up. The more pressure you apply to revive the deal, the lower your perceived value becomes. To prevent this collapse, we need a completely different approach. We are going to build a systematic, controlled re-engagement method that preserves your authority after the meeting ends. Step 1 is the post-call anchor. Open a blank draft window. Immediately after your meeting, you need to write a short 3-sentence recap. The rule here is strict. You must summarize the specific problems they are tired of dealing with and the outcomes they want, using their exact phrasing. You completely omit your own marketing language. This comparison shows a standard, weak follow-up request on the left that begs for approval, saying things like, "Let me know what you think." On the right, the blue blocks show a strong, objective-focused summary. Based on what you said, the priority is solving X before Y gets worse. Writing the message this way accomplishes 2 things. It proves you actively listened, and it anchors the decision entirely to the buyer's internal motivations, rather than your desire to close a deal. By removing the need to ask for permission, you anchor the meaning and priority of the original conversation. Step 2 is calibrating your timing. After that first anchor message, silence does not always mean rejection. It usually means the buyer is processing information, comparing options, or simply returning to their busy routine. This style represents the buyer's psychological temperature. This temperature is the only metric you should use to determine when to reach out next. If the meeting ended with high energy and specific next steps, you can schedule your follow-up sooner. If the conversation ended with hesitation or they need to review with a partner, you extend the timeline and give them space. Sellers run into trouble when they use frequent messaging to soothe their own discomfort with uncertainty. That is surveillance, not sales. By maintaining disciplined timing, you allow the prospect's autonomy to remain completely intact. The deal survives because it is not suffocating under your anxiety. Step 3 is the value touch. As we see in this graphic, desperate sellers often flood inboxes with extra pitch decks and testimonials, hoping more data will force a stalled decision. This information dump actually creates cognitive load. The more complex you make the evaluation, the longer their decision-making process stalls. Instead, draft a single, highly relevant touchpoint. Send a short note clarifying a specific risk they mentioned, or a concise case study related to their exact situation. This precision touch changes how they view you. You are acting as an advisory tool guiding their judgment, not a noisy vendor begging for attention. Limiting your contact to these singular, high-value insights ensures you maintain your status as an expert consultant. Eventually, you do need to reopen momentum, but open-ended questions like "just checking in" trap the buyer in vague silence, usually because they are not quite ready to commit. Step 4 is the forked follow-up. This diagram shows a single communication line splitting into 2 equal paths. We are going to offer the buyer 2 legitimate, low-pressure choices. You script a message defining these paths. From here, we can move ahead if the timing feels right, or we can pause and revisit when this becomes a more immediate priority. This works because it removes the pressure of a forced yes. The prospect simply has to map their current mental position to one of the 2 options. Providing these controlled choices drastically lowers buyer resistance. It explicitly protects their autonomy and gives them permission to say "not yet." Step 5 is the status-safe closeout. Sometimes urgency fades, the timing is wrong, and the prospect completely stops responding despite your best efforts. Weak sellers send endless nudges in this scenario, destroying their perceived value. High-level professionals know how to walk away cleanly. You send a simple walk-away message. "I haven't heard back, so I'll assume the timing isn't right at the moment. No issue at all. Feel free to reach out later." Ending the cycle of pursuit does something powerful. it signals deep emotional stability and composure to the buyer. Closing the loop signals that you are not emotionally dependent on the outcome. Removing that pressure allows the prospect to reevaluate the deal without the feeling of being hunted, which often restarts the conversation faster than another nudge. Review the 5 templates you have drafted. You will notice a total absence of desperate or needy language. In professional sales, people do not only evaluate the mechanics of your offer, they evaluate the emotional posture behind it. Ultimately, influence does not come from a place of relentless persistence or chasing. It comes from calibrated relevance, timing, and emotional control. Take your currently stalled deals and apply this exact sequence to them. Take back control of the re-engagement process. Executing this framework ensures you never chase silence, protecting your identity as a calm, trusted advisor.